We were ready for Mexico mainland, excited for the ferry to Mazatlan. But we never saw it coming. A scam at the border that took our sense of safety in an instant. A steaming ferry ride, a wave of disappointment, and the unsettling feeling we've been misled. But the journey must go on. We've got nowhere to be and everywhere to go. After the chaos of the crossing, Mazatlan welcomed us with towering coconut palm trees and a warm breeze. We spent the day unwinding after the ferry ride and cooking some napales. Sat together with Sandro, the guy we've met on the ferry. Turns out he's chasing the same dream, Argentina. Only he's doing it with a Tesla. Yeah, a full-time life on the road in an electric car. Unexpected? Absolutely. But that's the beauty of travel. You never know who you'll meet at the next stop. The sky burned gold as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the sand. Palm trees rustled gently above us, whispering secrets only the wind could carry. But even as the breeze cooled our skin, the heat of the ferry still clung to our memories. Sticky, heavy, impossible to shake. And if you're wondering how we ended up here, well, let's take it from the top.
So, good morning.
Welcome to Mexico mainland.
Welcome to Mexico mainland, yeah. We made it yesterday with the ferry from La Paz to Mazatlan. And the experience was pretty special. It was an experience, let's put it that way. The first thing was...
We rolled south, La Ventana fading behind us. The road clung to the cliffs, dipping and curving with the land. To our left, the sea stretched out in shades of turquoise and emerald, shifting with the light. It was one of those drives where everything just feels right. But we were headed for the unknown, the port, a suspicious waiting list, and a lot of unanswered questions. But back to the story.
The first thing was as we entered the port, you go through a security check, and then was everything fine. They wanted to see the tip, which we had, of course, and then they asked us if we have a drone with us. We are honest, and we said yes, we have one. And then the guy asked, yeah, can you show it to me? And so we showed it to him, and they said, okay, yeah, drones are illegal in Mexico. We said, okay, I never heard of this, but yeah. Oh. You can sit here if you want.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've got some proof.
Yeah. And then the guy said, yeah, you have to pay taxes for the drone, and if we had the invoice and all this stuff, but the fact is we didn't have the invoice because we bought it secondhand in Switzerland like years ago, and so he said, yeah, you have to pay taxes for the drone, which was very strange for us because we already pay taxes, and it doesn't make sense. If something is illegal, you can pay taxes, and then it should be legal, or I don't know.
We sat there, surrounded. 5 officers, 30 minutes of back and forth. None of them spoke English, and with our poor Spanish skills, the tension started building. When Christian said no, we won't pay the tax, things got serious. They started asking about how many computers we have with us, because apparently only one is allowed per car, which really seemed like nonsense. The questions continued about cameras, solar panels, and other things. They were poking more and more about everything we had with us and threatened to unpack everything. Every drawer, every compartment, our entire life on wheels, laid out. We didn't know if this was official or just a shakedown. But back to the story.
Doesn't make sense. Maybe you know it better. If you know something about this or heard something of this, please write it in the comments, and because for us it's really strange. So
I mean, we do have to add that we received an official
paper.
Yes. So
Yeah, we can show you that on the screen.
they pulled up some random listing online claiming the drone was worth $350. That became their magic number, and suddenly we owed 90% in taxes. We argued, explained, but none of it mattered. In the end, we paid 1,350 pesos, around 70 US dollars, for a drone we already owned.
And yeah, then we went forward to the office, and then we said, yeah, we are on the waiting list for the ferry. And she said, yeah, the ferry is booked, so you cannot go on the ferry today, but you can come back on Monday. And then we said, yeah, but we are on the waiting list, so should we just wait? And then she said, yeah, you can go to the scaling and bring us the document of the weight of the car. And so we did that. We went back, and then she said, okay, you are on the waiting list, kind of. And they gave her my number, and then she said, yeah, okay, I'm gonna call you when we have space for you. And then we went over to a parking lot and waited there. And then at some point Sandro here came to us and said, yeah, you just go, because they give places away, and yeah. So I went to the office, and like it was everything set up. She gave me a paper, and I could pay for the ferry, and we went on the ferry, and everything was fine. And then we drove on top of the ferry, but sadly under the cabins, so it was inside the ferry, but still high enough to pop up the roof. But it was so hot. It was 35 degrees in the car, and it was so hot and so loud because they had to run the generators to cool down their trucks because there was food inside. And
But hey, see for yourself how the shipping played out.
ship on top, but still under the roof, which is a bit bad because it's getting very hot here. I mean, we have some fresh air here from the door, but I don't think it's enough.
Yes.
So,
and I got a warning because I was walking Nacho around the port.
yeah,
And they sent a security guy after me.
yeah,
Lo siento mucho.
yes. But now we're here and we are happy to go over to Mazatlan, and yeah.
And in case you're wondering how hot it is, we have 34.7 degrees here. And we have 32 degrees in the car, so it's hot.
It's still colder in the car, but yeah.
But it's hot.
Yeah, we hope that we have some airflow here, so it's colder.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yes.
The beauty of stories like this isn't just the places, it's the people. The unexpected connections, the conversations, the strangers who become part of our path. And that's really the goal of this journey. Meet Sandro, Ilse and Felix, each on their own adventure, but somehow our stories crossed.
There was food inside, and yeah, it was really
So we had the heat
an experience.
and the fumes.
And the fumes, yeah. Yeah, but at the end we are here now, and you could feel, in my experience, you could feel a difference between Baja and the mainland already. So,
Even though Mazatlan is, I think, very touristic.
yeah, Mazatlan is very touristic. We drove through the beach region, and it's ultimately touristic with all these white vehicles that they're driving the tourists around.
Yeah.
We are also kind of tourists, but so, yeah. And later we're gonna give you a room tour of the Tesla, the Beluga.
Unconventional, very good.
Unconventional, kind of a different different Overlander. Muy bueno.
After a slow morning and a fresh breakfast in Mazatlan, it was time to move on. We said goodbye to Mazatlan, packed up the rig, and pointed the wheels towards Tepic. 280 kilometers of open road ahead. A new place, a new chapter, but the same dream guiding us out.
Where are we going today?
So today we are driving to Tepic or whatever, but yeah, we left the place that we were for 2 nights just to settle down a little bit in Mazatlan. And we are driving to Tepic to go some grocery shopping, and afterwards we are driving towards Tequila. We are driving the toll road. See, so you have to pay for the road, but it's safe. So we drove now the highway, which was not so inexpensive. We had to pay in total for 280 kilometers. It was almost 1,000 pesos, which is $50, right?
Yeah.
And now we are in Tepic, and I mean everybody told us that Baja California and Mexico mainland is different, and you could feel it's different. I would say it feels like the real Mexico here, but it's really nice to drive through and feel the energy of this town. That's cool. Viva la Mexico!
As we rolled into Tepic, expecting the usual city struggle, tight streets, noise, nowhere to park, let alone camp. Finding a spot in a place like this, usually a headache, but not this time. Tucked between buildings and shaded by trees, we found a small oasis, right in the heart of the city. Quiet, green, and somehow exactly what we needed. And all of it for $9 per night.
Sí. So, I mean, you know Sandro because we are driving together since 2 days. And I'm sure you are pretty interested in how he lives in his car. And we are watching out some components like the kitchen, for example. How do you manage your kitchen?
Yeah, so this is a telescope design. So there's 2 slide-out drawers, right? So here I have essentially my sink that I never use as a sink. I use it just for storage. There's some water. And then I have an induction plate right here. So when it's windy like this, I can cook as well. And then I have some other miscellaneous stuff. I love to drink coffee in the morning.
Yeah, perfect. How can you, I mean, you have an induction, right?
Yeah.
So do you take the energy from the car or?
No, actually I use solar panels and they're up front on the hood. They were custom made by a company called Meter Solar. But yeah, that's because unfortunately Tesla didn't think somebody was gonna live in their car, so they didn't have AC outlets. So I have the EcoFlow unit right here down below, and that powers all my appliances, right? My coffee maker, my blender, my induction, and that is wired to my solar panels, right?
But is it only charged by the solar panel? Or
Yeah, right
also?
now.
Okay. Great.
Yep.
Okay. And some spices?
Yeah, spices too.
What is up there?
Spices.
This one?
My random miscellaneous box. I can never get organized. It's always very chaotic. It's been like that for 2.5 years. And then I have my spices because I love to cook. And then I got running water, just like that.
That's cool. Nice.
Yeah. So I carry about 40 liters, so 10 gallons, which is right here. 2 of them.
That's great.
Yeah. Perfect. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you sleep? I mean, you have the kitchen here.
Yeah.
And then
So I initially put the seats down, and then I have these mattresses that fold out, and I got a sleeping bag and 2 pillows. Usually I sleep with my head in here, right? Which is kind of weird, but I like to look at the sky, and I feel very like safe.
yeah.
And then I have curtains that go around the car, so if I'm in a city, I can be in stealth mode, nobody can see inside, and I can see them because I have the cameras.
Yeah.
Right. And then I put cam mode if it's super hot or super cold, so the car knows you're sleeping inside of it. Like when we were on the boat the other day, I slept like a log, so calm. I didn't hear much from outside.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was
For us, it was really loud and really warm.
Yeah.
Or hot.
Well, it was 35 degrees Celsius. You know,
Yes,
so
it was.
It was hot.
I know. I know.
Yeah, I don't have to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So I have a Starlink mini dish right here. It's suction cupped, and that's also powered by my EcoFlow. But most of the time powered just by my car with my inverter that I have.
Okay.
And then I have 2 little plants that I live with.
Little plants. This is still a plant, or?
Yeah, this is an air plant. So no soil needed. You just water it every few days.
Oh, really?
And then this is aloe vera for the sunburns.
Okay.
And then this thing is an unashak. So that's from Tuk Tuk Tuk. And a gentleman sold it to me at the campground. And it represents that you're going to your next destination, which is kind of our road life, right?
True. Because we are going all the time to the next destination.
Yeah, to some extent.
That's
right?
great.
Yeah,
Cool.
so it sits right here. And then let me show you the solar.
This is the solar panel, right?
Yeah, this is the solar panels. It's 120 watts here, 120 watts here. There's 32 little modules on each. So 64 total.
Nice.
And there's a company called Meter Solar. They're from the Netherlands, and they specialize in solar races and custom panels. So these were custom made in the Netherlands for my Model X. And what's really cool, they're super high efficiency, over 25%, and they're super robust. They've already been in an accident when I got hit, and then when I span out in the snow. So they're really, really good.
Nice.
And then I'll show you the wiring. So there's solar junction boxes underneath here, and that wires through the firewall, through the car to the back of the EcoFlow. And what's really nice, in Mexico, I'm peaking easily at like 9 o'clock or at 200 watts plus, and then through the day it kind of remains there. And then now I'm not getting anything, but the EcoFlow is pretty much full.
Yeah.
But it's super neat because I've charged my car with this. I've gotten about 5 to 10 kilometers in a day, which is awesome. It's not fast, but the main reason why I have it is to keep my Starlink powered in case I run out of charge, which is, it's possible, it's never happened, but that's kind of my my way of thinking is I want to have a backup, you know, because I do have some more restrictions.
But can you charge the car with this solar?
Not directly,
but indirectly with the
EcoFlow.
With the EcoFlow.
Yeah.
So you can, and let's say you fill up the EcoFlow with this one.
Yeah.
And then you have to charge the car with the EcoFlow. How many kilometers can you do?
About 5 to 10.
5 to 10 kilometers.
Yeah,
Okay.
it really depends on the temperature. Because I've done 2 tests. I've done 1 test on a really perfect day. I got 6 miles right out of it, which is about 10 kilometers. And then on a super cold day in the winter, I got half of that.
Okay.
Right, because the efficiency loss, the cold, and then going from like the EcoFlow into the car.
Okay. To keep the food fresh. So you have also a fridge.
Yeah, I have a fridge right here, and I'm also charging my drone batteries with it.
With the fridge.
With the fridge. Right here. So this is about 30 liters.
Yeah.
Not the biggest, not the smallest, just enough. I could stuff about a week's worth of food in here.
Yeah.
I can also make ice. So
a little ice box.
Let's see. It takes about a day.
Okay.
So overnight. So if I'm gonna make iced coffee. Yeah, I cannot live without a fridge because I like to cook a lot. I like to eat fresh. You know, keep my expenses low.
Yeah.
Mexico is very cheap. Like this campground costs $9.
Yeah. So I like it very much because it's not about what you're driving, or I mean, you can go with a bicycle, you can go with a Tesla, you can go with a Defender, or with a even bigger Earth Roamer, for example. But the fact is, you're doing it, and
Yeah.
this is what I like.
I wanted something
Doesn't matter,
practical, small,
Yeah.
low maintenance, little to no.
Yeah.
I can charge a lot of places for free. So like, it's super nice. Like last night at the campground.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's not so complicated as I thought, because you have everywhere, you have the plugs everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has a plug at home, so
Yeah. That's the worst
you
comes to
can
worst.
just basically go to somebody and ask, hey, sorry, can I charge the
Yeah.
car? No?
Yeah, you can.
You could.
I've done that once at a hotel,
Yeah.
but most of the time, the UI has chargers available for me, especially mainland Mexico.
Yeah.
I can also have different apps like PlugShare. It shows me all the charging infrastructure, and there's a lot. Or you just have to plan, because when you're outside the Tesla network, you have to manually plan yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're in the Tesla network, it's so easy.
Yeah.
But it's like.
Okay.
We want to take a moment to say thank you. Every like, share, comment and subscription help us reach more people, and we are so grateful for each of you. A special thanks to those supporting us through Super Thanks. Your generosity keeps this journey going. Thank you for being a part of our story.